transition into live. Amen. We thank you guys. Let's give God a hand praise in the building. God is blessing. God is allowing us to be here. We're going to get into this word. We're not going to take a long time. We do appreciate those of you that came out to the in-person service. We know there's a lot tuning in right now online, and there's those that are being a part of this online experience. But we thank God for those of you that decided to go a little further and press a little harder and get up in this morning and out of that comfortable, relaxing and regenerating bed and decide that you'll come and be a part of the in-person service and show God that He's been that good to you that you will sacrifice your time, your relaxation to come and give Him thanks for what He has done. How many of you thank God for allowing you another day and another time? Amen. We're going to go into the book of Kings. First King is where we're going to plant our feet this morning. And we're going to use for a thought, weight of the crisis. Weight of the crisis. We pray and hope that we are able to relate to you exactly what God has given us. We've been through a lot these last week, and a lot of you know, and some of you online know that we buried my brother this week, and it's been a stressful week. It's been a hard week. But I thank God that this is the first time I've been back in this pulpit to deliver a word in a couple of weeks now, maybe close to 3 weeks. But I thank God that God has given me enough strength to stand before you. And I pray that I'm able to deliver without breaking down or any of that. I just ask that you will pray for me, that God will bless me and encourage me and continually to word my mouth so that I can give you great substance, things that that will benefit you spiritually and naturally. I enjoyed that little saying that went out this morning in the morning worship, an intentional praise. Sometimes you got to have an intentional praise. You got to intentionally do it for God to see the benefit by which you are giving that praise. And I'm excited about that part. I'm excited that regardless of what I'm going through, God is blessing. And this message, the weight of the crisis, is going to deal with some things that we as believers, we as non-believers tend to go through. And sometimes it tends to cause us not to trust God as much. And then sometimes it pushes us to trust God even more. It sometimes pushes us to believe God for the unbelievable. Sometimes it allows us an opportunity to show God just what God means to us, just how we believe and trust in Him, and we look for Him to do it because why? We know He can. And that's what we're going to deal with this morning. We're going to the book of 1 Kings, 17th chapter, beginning at the 17th verse. And it's a familiar story. It's a story about the Widowmite woman, the woman that gave to the man of God. And a lot of times we give to churches, we give to preachers, we give to ministry, we give to outreaches, we give to those things that I forget the name, those things that you want to give to benefit a cause, to give money to them. We give in so many ways, in so many aspects. But a lot of times when we give, we really don't anticipate something in return. We give it thinking that it is just something that we're doing. We're just something that as an action to show gratitude or to show our gratuity toward a situation. But a lot of times when we give, we should give with an expectation to receive back. We should give with an expectation that God is going to do something for us. And we're giving for a reason for God to do. Somebody said that's a bad way to give. But I want you to understand that giving to God with an expectation puts a demand on your gift that I'm giving, because God don't allow you, excuse me, to put to take a gift from him without understanding the requirements to receive the gift. A lot of times we tend to think that giving is something that we do to be looked upon that we're doing something great. But sometimes giving is because we need something. We have a emptiness in our process. I looked up the word crisis. Before I jump into the reading, I looked up the word crisis, because when it said the weight of the crisis, the weight part means the heaviness or how straining or how hard it's going to be to carry that weight. The crisis is the part of it that I really want to jump into the meat of it. And there was a definition in Webster that I took, and that I said I'm going to use this because it said a stage in a sequence of events at which the trend of all future events, especially for better or worse, is determined. It is the turning point. And I took that one because that meant everything. Because a lot of times in crisis, especially in a spiritual crisis, in a life crisis, it is a turning point by which all things thereafter is going to change. A lot of people, look at crisis of always being bad. Yeah. It's a negative thing. Sometimes it's a negative thing. A lot of times it is a negative thing, but there is incidents. There is a possibility that a crisis could be a good thing, because crisis sometimes turn the ways. It turns the direction of the flow of the thing to go in a different direction, which is meaning you need it to change, or else it would destroy you. Yes. And in our story, we're going to see that this woman, she did what we always do. She gave to the man of God. And it's okay to give to the man of God. I encourage you to give to the man of God. It is a way of blessing. It is a way that God can open doors for you. It is a way that God can elevate you in certain things. But when she gave to the man of God, she gave to him with no expectation. When she gave, and she just did it because she said he needs something to suffice him meanwhile while he's here. And when she gave to him, the man of God asked her, "What do you want? Do you want to be great amongst the king?" She said, "No, I got everything I want. I'm a wealthy woman. My husband did well by me. My husband hasn't left me lacking anything, so I don't need none of that. I'm fine right there." But the man of God servant said, "There's no little children running through this house. There's need of a child." And the man of God, without her even asking, gave her the child. Said, "This time next year, you're going to have little feet running around in the house." And the woman of God said, "Don't play with me." Even though she didn't ask, she wanted that thing. Yeah. How many times have God given you something you didn't ask for, but it was what you wanted? Yes. How many times that God placed in your life something that you knew you desired, but you was too afraid to ask God because you felt like you wasn't worthy to ask God, but God still gave it to you even though you didn't ask. Right. Some people take that as a sign of righteousness, just because God is blessing them, just because God is opening doors, just because God is allowing opportunities to come their way. A lot of times we take the gifts of God, the grace of God, the gratitude of God for granted and think that means that everything is okay with our relationship. But it's not. Just because a man says that he wants to marry you don't mean every single day he's going to like you every day. Just because a woman tells a man, "I do," doesn't mean that she's going to like him every single day. They're going to come adversity, is going to come controversy in the relationship that's going to prevent them from always loving on one another. Yeah. A relationship where they love on each other all the time make everybody sick. Yeah. You ever been around a group, a couple, they always nibbling on each other. They always kissing on each other. They always, got their hand on each other's face. And you tell them, go get a room. Stop all of that. Because it started to get to you after a while. In our story, the woman of God didn't ask the man of God for nothing, but the man of God gave. When the man of God gave, the man of God went on his way. The woman of God began to enjoy the blessings that God gave her. How many times have you enjoyed the blessings of God that God has given you and not realized that there's trouble coming up the road?
That's right.
There's crisis coming up the road. Some of us take that for granted. And we just assume that our crises are never going to get bad, that there's never going to come a weighted situation in our life. But I'm here to tell you this morning that God has a plan for you. And sometimes in the plan of God for you, it means that you will be blessed abundantly. But baby, don't forget that up the road, God's going to send a trial to test the relationship. If God don't test the relationship, you'll never know the sincerity or the strength of the relationship. See, we don't want God to test our relationship. We just want God to always, I'm going to speak to you women in the room this morning, or you women online. Have you ever had a relationship with a man that everything you say, he agree with you? Every time you turn around, he always, yes, no problem, darling. You send him to the store. He go get what you want from the store. But in the meanwhile, you call and you say, have you left the store? He said, yeah, I left the store. I'm almost at the front door. And you say, I wanted a certain thing. Do you want me to go back and get that certain thing? After a while, that'll get nerve-wracking. That'll be a problem, because every time he never tests the relation. He never disagree with you. He never tell you no. He never be a controversy to you. He's always agreeing. He's always in agreement with what you're saying. After a while, you'll say, don't you sometimes get angry with me? Just get mad one time. You know why? Because the relationship needs to be tested to see. If you never test that, you don't know where your boundaries are. You never know how far you can go in the relationship before it's too far.
That's right.
We learned that early in our relationships, that those are buttons you don't want to push unless you want that reaction. When you want that reaction, I remember, and me and my wife, we understand each other. We really do. And I'm just using this as an illustration in my message, because I don't want anybody to think my wife is negative toward me. No, she's not. She's great. And I'm not that man to always want to pat her on the back. But sometimes, she'll get on my nerves, and I'll say, you know what? You're starting to get to me now. What you're saying is not making any sense. I come harsh, and when I come harsh at her, she draws back, and she has this thing when we're riding down in the automobile and I say something to her, she turn her head to the window. When she turn her head to the window and all I can see is the back of her head, it lets me know she's frustrated with me right now. I know I pushed the button. I'm either going to continue to do it and continue to make her angry, that all of a sudden she crosses her legs. Now, if she crosses her leg and looking out the window at the same time, that means I really messed up, and it's going to take some hours to fix this. And I understand that it's going to take me a minute or two to get it under control. But I know I went beyond my limitations in the process. And then all of a sudden, I just out of the blue, because I know out of the blue, I just got to throw something in there just to fix the crisis. Sometimes you got to just throw something in the water to change the current.
No.
And you know what I do to change the current of our relationship at that moment while she's angry and got her legs crossing her head, back of her head facing me? I said, what you want to eat? You want to get something to eat? You need anything right now? Because now I got to force her to either answer me or turn to me. Now I'm going to change the current. When I do so, it may take me asking several times, but I can't get angry when I ask the question. When she don't answer, I just got to be patient. And I got to say, babe, I said, do you?
Yep.
Yeah, see, they out there preaching in the audience. Yeah, it takes time to change the course. You can't change the course just by imagination or just by you wanting to change the course. You got to do, if you're going north on the road and you need to go back south, you got to stop and you got to turn and slow down, and you got to pivot your car with the wheel and turn slowly. It takes an effort to change the direction. Crises take a time of dedication. You can't stop a crisis just because you desire it to stop.
That's right.
The word reads, and it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, and Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubled Israel? I'm in the wrong one, I guess. 1 Kings 17. Oh, I'm in 18. That's where it is. That's where it is. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, y'all. And it reads, and it came to pass after these things, the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. In other words, the young man that was granted to the woman for the deed she did got sick. Mind you that the man of God asked her, what you want? She said, I don't need nothing from you. The man of God said, I'm going to give you a child anyhow. She said, don't play with me. Don't give me something I can't keep. How many times boy, this going to resonate with all you men. How many of you ever gave a woman an engagement ring and one day y'all broke it off and you look for the engagement ring back? Somehow, some way in the relationship, the woman feels entitled to keep the ring without keeping the relationship.
Yep.
See, you can't keep God's blessings and don't fulfill your obligations. God is just like that. Sometimes we as believers, we trust God for things. When God give it to us, then we ask God, don't you ever come to take it back, because it's mine now. The woman, she got the child. She began to enjoy the child. But one day the child fell sick. And when the child fell sick and the child fell down to the ground without breath in him, in other words, the child died.
Yes, that's right.
And 18 said, and she said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of God? Art thou come unto me to call my sins to remembrance and to slay my son? She immediately began to come at the man of God and let him know, hey, what did I do to you to get this problem? See, crisis is heavy.
Yes, yes it is.
Crisis weigh on you. It don't mean all the time that it's bad. This is a bad situation that's happening, but it's a good thing going to come out of it.
Yes, yes.
The good thing that's going to get ready to come out of the crisis is sometimes we must understand that our crisis don't mean you always attack God and say, God, you did this to me, and I believe that you don't care for me because the crisis is heavy. That's the time to seek God for a way out.
That's right.
But we do the opposite. We start to blame God for the reason the bad is happening. We started telling God, you know, this would have never happened if you never did this. If you was going to take it from me, you should have never gave it to me. Just because I got to deal with this, now I got these problems. Now, God never told you a blessings don't come with crisis.
No.
See, you don't look at blessings as being a crisis
No, you don't.
until you got to pay for it. I'm going to give you a real good example. If a woman and a man get together and decide that they want to buy a house, and they go buy a $350,000 house, and in over turn of 30 years, the house now going to cost them $650,000. Now, when they go into the house, the people explain to them that you're going to make payments of $3,500 every single month, so that in 30 years the house is paid for. Now, the thing of it is, they look at what they got coming in. They look at their ability to budget. They look at their ability to manage their finances, and they said, this is no problem. We can handle it. But they never realized that crisis is going to come up the road.
That's right.
After a while, they get in the house and they're having great relationship in the house, and next thing they know, they got a little one coming in the house with them, and now there was 2, and now there's 3 in the family, and now all of a sudden you look up 6 years later, there's 8 in the family. They've been having babies, and they've been bringing on adversity and trials and tribulation, not understanding that they're going to become a crisis after a while. Now all of a sudden that money that they thought they had free started getting tied up. And now the house, the beautiful home that they bought, the beautiful home that was supposed to be in their family, that they were supposed to pass down to their children, the beautiful home that they've been mowing the yard and trimming the hedges and making sure it stayed painted and making sure it looked nice and washing the brick. They've been caring for the house. They've been maintaining the house. All of a sudden the house become a burden because now the house still demands its $3,500, even though they're only bringing $5,000 a month in. Now they don't have enough to cover the children that demand even more than a house. Now the process getting hard. Crisis starts setting in. Oh, I know I preach hard. I'm sorry. I apologize to y'all that y'all don't like that hard preaching, but sometimes I get excited and I have to get it out, and the only way I can get it out is I almost got to scream it out. You know, not that you need me screaming at you, but because I need to make sure you get this word and you understand this word. Sometimes in your life, the weight of your crisis is going to change your process. It's going to change your directive of where you're going. Sometimes it even changes the way you trust and believe God.
Yes, that's true.
How many of you have ever been to the point that you really believe God, you really trust God, you really love God, but then when crisis starts sitting in, you start changing that perspective. You're not trusting God as much. You're not loving God as much as you used to. You start getting complacent with the relationship. You start taking the relationship for granted because you think you've gotten over it. This woman did just that. She was happy with her blessing. Then she went to the man of God and said, "Are you trying to point out my sins or something? Is this why you're doing this to me?" See, that's what we do to God. God, what have I done to make you do this to me? We be that sarcastic with God, knowing we done. You know every single thing you've done in your past to get to your present. And you know what all you did that didn't please God, but you had the nerves and the audacity to ask God, why you do this to me? Because you're in your crisis, and now you feel like God owes you an explanation that things gotten hard. That trials and tribulation came. The Bible said, think it not strange when fiery trials come upon you. But these things come what? To work within you patience, and to work in you the strength of God, to allow you to be strong Christians, to allow you to be strong believers. But you'll never be a strong believer if God don't test the waters. I say it like this. If they build a big ship, and then they build a little boat, and then they build a little paper, a little simple model glue together boat, and then they build a paper boat, and they said, okay, now we got to put them on the water. Now they got to make sure that it's gonna float for once, so they test it. After they test it and they see that it has the ability to float, it knows it can stay in the water. But how do you test a ship? The same way you test the paper boat is that you got to put them in a circumstance that will bring crisis to the boat.
Come on.
A ship can withstand all that the paper boat has without ever getting in the water. A paper boat can only take maybe a glass of water before it's consumed. You can pour it on top of the paper boat, it starts getting soggy. But if you pour a cup of water on a ship, it ain't going to even put a dent. It's not going to phase it. It's going to roll right off of it. See, some Christians, they got strong strength and strong skin that whatever the enemy throw on them, they like a ship. No matter what he pull on top of them, it just flow right off. I'm going to tell you something. You can send a ship in a hurricane, waters is coming. And the ship can withstand the hurricane up to a point. But you put the paper boat in there, and the wave come, it's going to destroy the boat.
That's it.
But the ship can withstand waters flowing over the top of it, down over it, under it, around it. It can withstand it. It'll go up, it'll go down, it'll come back up. It's going to shake up everything that is within, but it's going to hold tight, and it's going to get you through the storm.
Yes.
This woman said, you came to test me or something? You came to show my sins? And he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft where he abode and laid him upon his bed. The man didn't answer her question. She said, did you come to test to see if I got sin in my life or something? This is why you doing this to me? Mm-hmm. The man of God said, give me that baby. You know, sometimes you got to be pastors. I'm talking to the pastors right now, and the ministers, and the evangelists, and those that carry the word of God. Sometimes you got to just tell that person that's seeking God, and they asking, why God doing this? Why God taking me through this? Why am I having this situation? Sometimes you just got to take that problem and say, give me that problem,
Yep.
and walk away. You don't need to do nothing else. The man of God didn't try to calm her down or make her feel a certain way. He said, just give me the baby. He took the baby out of her bosom. Sometimes you got to go up and you got to take people problems. That's what I loved about the old church. The old church, when you came to church, you didn't come to get saved. But when you got to church, you better make sure you are covered from being called in the prayer line. You better hide. You better do whatever. Because they're going to force you in the prayer line. They're going to force you on the altar. They're going to force you on your knees. They're going to pray you through. If it takes 2 hours, they're going to sit there and pray with you. They're going to spit all over you. They're going to keep saying, save me, Jesus, save me, Jesus, save me, Jesus, save me, Jesus. You would think you were hearing a broke record. After a while, you get so tired of being wet from their spit, you'll just go ahead and get, save me, Jesus, save me, Jesus, save me, Jesus. You'll just start claiming it, even though you ain't got it, just to make them stop. But that's the old church. The new church, we so modern, and we so compassionate with them that we don't do nothing to make sure that they understand they got to be saved. We show so much compassion, and we say to them, oh, you're going to be all right, baby. Just keep trusting God. And you send them home with that problem the same way they came with it. And you said, we just going to pray with you. We just going to believe. We're not going to force God on you because you don't do that. But them old saints, they will force God on you. When you came in church and you weren't dressed right, them ladies, you have a too short dress, they'll walk up and put a handkerchief over you and cover you. When you walked in church and you showed too much of your bosom and everything, they come and they'll put a handkerchief and tuck it in and say, baby, you got to cover that up. Nobody's supposed to see that but the man you love. They get real serious about how they manage the young saints. But nowadays we are so busy and so conscious with people's lives that we don't understand that God is the same today as he was yesterday. God never changed. God still demands and God still desires that you give him your undivided attention. And the only way you're going to give him undivided attention, you got to give over to him. I got to close. I'm almost closing. I'm almost done. Not only did the man of God take him, he took him where he was, where he abode. Sometimes you got to take it. You got to take the problem in. When you take the problem in, he took the problem in there, and then he laid the problem out. Let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you what he did. He said, and he cried unto the Lord. Well, let me back up. 19, and he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him into the loft where he abode and laid him on his bed. And he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourned by slaying her son? Woo, Christ is to make you say some things to some people that you would have never thought you'd say. You ever been ready to get in a fight and you know that you about to get beat up. You know this person is going to really put some damage on you.
Okay.
And you say the only way is I got to give it all I got.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up, I was a fighter.
Lord help.
Yes.
I would fight all the time. You know, that's just who I was. I didn't have no problem in fighting. But I remember one time my cousin, and he's going on to meet the Lord, but my cousin, I had been saved for a little while, and I was determined to be saved, and he wasn't saved yet, but we were real close, and we would run and do things together. And one day he went outside and he started a fight. But he came and got me for the fight. When he came and got me for the fight, he said, they over there trying to fight me, and I came, and I went happily. See, that's why you got to know where your salvation really lies.
I know.
I thought my love really lied with God
Yep.
until my cousin asked me to go fight. And I put God to the side so quick. And I said, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to fight them. I said, how many is it? He said, man, I done lost count, but it's quite a few of them over there, at least five or six of them. He said, and they got, also, I'm going to let you know, on the way over, they got sticks and bottles and stuff like that, and they're going to be trying to hit us with all that stuff. And I said, we sure we want this fight?
Okay.
Just me and you?
Okay.
We got empty hands.
Okay.
We ain't got nothing. He said, no, we can handle this. With you, we can do this. Oh, I got chest stuck out.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to this fight. And I get to the fight, and the kids, they yelling and screaming, and I'm yelling back, and I'm telling them I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to whoop you, and man, you ain't seen a fight until I bring the fight to you. You know, I'm telling all of them, and they got sticks in their hand, it's only two of you, and all of that, and then all of a sudden, somebody said, it's not two, it's just one. And I said, one? You know, I'm looking straight at them. I turned to look and see what my two was.
Wow.
My two was gone. I turned around, all I could see is the back of his head.
Oh my God.
He gone.
Left brain.
I'm standing there, and they looking at me. They said, it's too late for you to run.
Oh Lord.
You got to fight your way out of here. Remember I said, if you ever been in a fight that you got to give everything you got, sometimes your fight, your crisis will make you say things to your situation, make you bigger than what you are. The man of God came to God and said, God, did you do this to bring shame on me? Did you do this to bring punishment on the woman that done good by me? And you told her to bless me, and now she blessed me, and you done took this child I gave her. The man of God began to come at God. Boy, I remember being in that fight, and all of a sudden I said, you know what? I ain't scared of y'all, even though it's just one of me. I'm going to still whoop all of y'all.
Okay.
I knew I couldn't do the traditional, you know, because that wasn't enough, you know. I had to come with all my arsenals at one time. And I started doing like they say, you fight like a girl. Boy, I was turning every direction I could do. I was swinging my arms. I don't care what they hit. Sometimes I would even hit myself. But I said, that's okay. Keep going. Keep going. That's the only way you're going to get out of this. You know, even though they had bottles and sticks and in their hand, they was afraid of all of them twisting and turning that they started backing up. When that gave me enough room to run, I took off. I put everything I had into my run.
That's right.
I ran in the house, and my auntie said, what are you doing? What's the matter? What are you running this house, slamming that door? I said, I just got into a fight. She said, boy, how you going to get in a fight? You saved. I said, well, I guess I ain't saved. I'm breathing hard. I guess I ain't saved no more. She said, what made you want to fight like that and give up God for a fight? You know that's not necessary. I said, I did it for my cousin. She said, you did that for who? I said, I did that for Wayne. And she said, where's Wayne? And she hollered his name. He come out the bedroom.
Oh my God. Wow. He done made it home.
He done made it home to safety. And I done lost my salvation. She said, now you go in there and you try to find your salvation. Go back in there and pray in that closet and ask God to forgive you. And she said, Wayne, you get in that room and you get that belt, because I'm finna give you a whooping. Even though my crisis was heavy, it turned the direction when I realized I'm in trouble.
Yes.
And I started trying to just get myself. See, sometimes you get yourself in trouble and you expect God just to sweep through and be the Superman.
Yeah.
God ain't nobody's Superman. God refused to be y'all Superman. You know why? God said, I'm bigger and better than a Superman. I don't need to sweep in and save the day. I tell you before you get in the day what's going to come so that you'll be ready for the crisis. God said, I'll equip you to deal with the battle. The thing about Superman, he was saved every single time he was saved Lois Lane, but he never equipped her to be able to fight the enemy when he came. He just said, I'll be back when you need me the next time. He go, she get in trouble, he swoop through, say today. He put her on the balcony, and he said, I'll see you the next time. And he go, see, I don't want God doing me like that. I need God to stay with me at all times, in all situations. I'm closing in all processes. See, I could keep going. I didn't realize that after my crisis of burying my brother, that if I just got back in the arena, I could do this. I feel more stronger today than I did in the last 3 weeks. It lets me know that even though your crisis is hard, if you give it to God.
Thank you, Lord.
The woman gave it to the man of God. The man of God prayed to God, and God did what? In 20, it says, and he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come in unto him. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came unto him, and he received. Now, see, that's the thing about it. Y'all get in this trouble. Y'all come to church in trouble. Y'all come to church with adversity all over you, been beating you down, and you're looking for God to help you through it and all of that. And then when God helps you, do you receive it? Because this is the tricky part of this whole thing. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. How many times have God brought you rescue unto you, and you received it, and you were made whole from your crisis? Or do you look at it and say, no, God, I don't want it like that. I still want to do this. I still want to enjoy this. I still want to go and do this way. I don't need you to take it away. I just need you to fix it. God said, I'm fixing it. You ever took a car to the mechanic and it's got a bad battery on it? And you tell the mechanic, fix everything about it, but leave the battery just like it is because I just want the car to be fixed. First off, the mechanic gonna, Yeah, something wrong with you. If the battery is the problem, I gotta fix the battery. We don't want God to fix the thing that is causing us to be disconnected from him. See, we don't come to God intentionally looking for God to do something for us. We come to God hoping God will fix the thing that's broken, but leave it just like it is, but help us to enjoy it. That's a wrong way to come to God. In the closing, the last verse, and Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, see, thy son liveth. And the woman said unto Elijah, now this is what y'all need to do to God. See, he brought her back and he said, here's your son, he alive. He ain't dead no more. And then the woman said unto Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and the word of the Lord in thy mouth is true. See, some of you come and you get from God and God fix your situation. You go and instead of giving God the credit and say, God, I know you, God. I know you're going to do for me. I know you're going to protect me. I know you're going to care for me. Instead of giving God your life, you keep doing your same old mess. And then when you get in trouble again, you look for him to get you out. But the minute God gets you out, that's when you need to say, God, I know for a fact now, not because my mama told me, not because my daddy's forced it on me, not because you you people said good things about you, I know for a fact you are a God that tells the truth. I know you are a fact, a God that will deliver. I know you are a God that will see about your children because I see it in the evidence. I see it in the process. I see it in the new direction of the tide. I see it that the crisis have gotten lightened. Oh, it's still a crisis. It's just not heavy.
Yeah.
See, you ever pick up an empty glass? It's got a little weight. You fill the glass up with some drink, it's got a lot more weight. You drink the weight out of the glass, don't mean the glass is weightless, that it's not a glass no more. It's still a glass, got weight. But it's not as heavy as it was with the drink in it. You enjoyed the benefits of the drink that the glass was capable of holding. You picked it up and down. You enjoyed all of that. But the minute the glass is empty, doesn't mean it don't have no more worth. It don't mean it don't have no more value. It's still a glass. You just got to use it again. Oh, I got to pray with you online. I'm going to pray with you. I'm closing. I'm going to my seat. But I could keep on going because when the weight of the crisis come at you, when the weight of the situation comes at you to tear you down, I'm here to tell you that you got a confidant. You got somebody that will come and fight for you. He's not a Superman, but he is someone that can do bigger and better than anything you got on you coming against you. Because why? He is a God that got all power in his hand. And I want to pray with you that you understand that no matter what crisis you got, it ain't bigger than God. It ain't badder than God.
That's right.
It can't prevent God from protecting you. It can't prevent God from covering you. It can't prevent God from getting you out of the trenches. God will take you out of the trenches. That's what I love about Army guys. Army guys go into battle and they dig a trench and bullets flying all around them. Bombs is exploding all around them. They just stay in the trenches until it's safe to come out. Some of y'all are jumping out the trenches and it's way too fast. And when you jump out the trenches, it's nobody's fault that your leg got blown off. Why? Because you jumped out the trenches too fast. But a soldier that's in the heat of battle, he stay put. Because he know the enemy can't get me as long as I'm in the trenches. The enemy know he can't win against you as long as you sticking on God's beside God. Long as you standing with God in the front. The enemy know I can't do nothing to him until they get out behind God. But the minute they get out behind God, I'm ready to throw the big. He gonna start hitting you wild with everything he got. Because he said that's the only opportunity I'm gonna get to knock the wind out of them. If I knock the wind out of them and they leave God, they got no hope. Father God, I come praying with every believer, every non-believer, all of those that are seeking you for answers, all of those that got crisis in their life right now, where the crisis is real weighted, Lord. Lord, I pray, Lord, that you bring relief. Lord, that I take those problems right now, Lord, as a representation in my hand. I take those problems, Lord, that they are having, those situations, financial or sickness, Lord, health-wise, Lord, relationship-wise, any situation that they're having that's a crisis right now, I take it, and Lord, I give it to you. And Lord, as I give it to you, Lord, I ask you fix it, and Lord, give it back, Lord, that they'll be able to live their life the way you would have them to live their life, Lord. And I believe it, I claim it, I say that it is done. In Jesus' name, it is done. I pray and I hope that you've enjoyed this broadcast, and I hope that you've enjoyed us here on Faith to Life Network at God's Commission Church. If you want to be notified, go to YouTube, type in Faith, the number 2, Life, and put that into your search bar and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell that every time we go live, you'll get a notification. And you'll be blessed and you have a wonderful Sunday. God bless you.